I've had a lot of questions about pumpkins lately, so I thought I would talk to you guys about how to tell if your pumpkin is ripe, because that is a big question that I had when I first started growing pumpkins, and it's a big question I see other people have too. So let me take you into the pumpkin patch and I can show you some very easy ways on how to tell if your pumpkin is ripe. Okay, so here we are. We have a nice sized pumpkin. This is like, I feel like this is like the perfect pumpkin. Anyways, so if you look, the flesh has already turned orange. Wait, let me take one of these. These guys are getting powdery mildew anyways. So I'm gonna cut off this and show you. Okay, so you can see there that the inside is hollow. And as your pumpkin ripens, like all summer long, as your pumpkin's growing and it starts off small, this area here will actually be hollow. And as it ripens, and you'll notice, especially when it starts turning color, this will start to get more and more firm, and it'll actually, that hollow area is actually like filling with fiber. It's getting hard, and that whole area becomes like solid strings. And so that is a good way to tell. Like, this is really hard. There's no movement in it whatsoever. The shell is hard. Another way people tell is by like knocking on them. And if it sounds hollow, then that means it's ripe. But I also found another way, and this is the perfect example. I saw this on a couple YouTube channels, and so I've kind of been looking into it, and it really does seem to make a difference. But this here is like the curlicue that's right at the stem. If this guy here is dry and hard, fully dry, then it is ripe. And this right here is fully dried. Like, it doesn't have any moisture in it. Usually that'll be green and a little thicker. And it's not anymore. So this one here is ready to pick. So I'm gonna take my cutters. I don't know if I can do this one-handed. There we go. And that guy is ready to harvest. Now let me show you one that isn't quite ripe yet. That's a nice pumpkin. Okay, so if we look here at this little guy, I don't have a clue what kind of pumpkin this is. The vine came from somewhere. It's not even close yet, but the stem is starting to get hard. But if you look here, here's the curlicue on it, and you'll see it's still green. This is still like flexible. It's starting to turn brown. It's got some leaves stuck to it. It's starting to turn brown. It's not bright green like on some, but it is not close. And so, you know, if I was just going by feel, I think, oh, that has a few days left. That's kind of hard. It's getting there, but by looking at this, I can see, oh, it actually has quite a bit more ripening left. I've been going by checking on the curlicue, and that has been making a big difference. I have not found any that are underripe, and some I'm having a hard time finding the little curlicue thing, so I'm not quite sure if all pumpkins have them or if I'm just missing them. But on some pumpkins, I really struggle with, okay, what was this again? What does it look like? And you know, you don't quite know for the pictures, were they photoshopped? Like, is it really supposed to be that pink, or is it really supposed to be that gray? And so looking at the stem, making sure that that's nice and hard, but then also looking at that curlicue, if it isn't fully dry, I know that I still have time to pick it, and I can let it and maybe get that better color. So let me show you a few more examples. Okay, so this one right here, I think that this is one of the hull-less seeds, or the naked seeds. And so I've been watching this because I have not been sure what it is all summer. It's been orange for quite a while. It kind of sounds hollow. The skin is pretty tough. The stem is pretty firm, but it still feels kind of not soft, but like my finger can go right in between the like up and down. It can go right in between the fibers there. But if I look here, there's the curlicue, and see how it's still green back here? That shows me that it's not quite ripe yet. So I am going to leave this one just for a little bit longer and just watch this curlicue. And it's brown on the ends, but here it isn't. So that shows me that it's not quite ripe yet. Okay, so here we have a wordy goblin. And I look and oops. Let's see if I can get around this leaf. There we go. I look and can very quickly see that the curlicue is not even close yet, so I'm just going to pass by that one. This is where I'm getting confused, and this curlicue trick really helps. Like our porcelain dolls, they look very similar to the Jardale squash, and they spread a lot more than I thought they would, and so I'm not quite sure which ones are Jardale squashes and which ones are the porcelain dolls. Jardale squashes turn gray, and porcelain dolls turn pink. So let me show you here, and this helps me determine which one is which and if they're ready. So here on this guy, it sounds hollow. That's pretty tough there. It's pretty hard. And look at the curlicue on it. It's actually stuck on another. But it is dry. And it goes almost, I mean, it's still pretty flexible. It still has a little bit of green. Up here it's nice and dry. And I'll take and I'll cut that. There. Make life a little easier here. And so this one I definitely can let sit for a few more days to ripen even more, because the curlicue, it's dry here, but it still could get a little more ripe before we cut it. Here is another porcelain doll. The stem is hard, but look at that curlicue. That one is ready. This is our first porcelain doll. Cut it, and there we go. Here on this guy, I look, and you see the curlicues right in there. They are dry, dry, dry. They're a nice dark brown. So this guy can get cut. And these are those magic lanterns that I like so much. I'm gonna get a lot of these for next year. So that one is ready. And here you can see how the pumpkin stem goes from hollow to hard as it's ripening. And so, you know, when it's still young, really young, that is actually more hollow. And so when you cut it early, or they break off or whatever, you'll actually see like a little hole in there. And then as it grows and as it ripens, then that gets thicker and thicker. So then this is the one I've been waiting for. I've actually been coming out and turning it because I was hoping to get this. This was white here, and so now it's getting to be a pretty yellow color. But this is the one I've been watching because this is a big, one of the French ones, Cinderella pumpkins. But I've been watching these curlicues, and they are still, I don't know if you can see it, there you go. The curlicues are getting to be paler, but it still is not quite ready yet. So I'm gonna let that go. This is one that I've been thinking for weeks I could pick, and I'm glad I'm letting it go so that it can get to its maximum potential. And I was moving the big Cinderella pumpkin because I wanted to make sure it wasn't sitting in dirt or water, and the stem snapped. So we're picking it. And I just want to show you this. So if you look right there, you know, the stem is hard, but you can still see a little bit of hollow in it. And that seems to be what the Curlicue really helps with finding, is that once the stem is solid, those Curlicues dry. And so that is really what we're looking for. At least how I understand it, that is what we're looking for. So this is the One Too Many pumpkin that I've been watching for quite a while because I thought it would be the first one to get ripe. So, sounds pretty hollow. The stem is pretty hard, and the Curlicue, it's right there, is pretty dry. It could have a little bit more, but it goes right to there. I will look at the weather, see what the weather is going to do to determine if I'm going to cut this one or not. If it's going to rain tomorrow, I'll cut it tonight because that would be nice to get those out. But if it's going to be nice tomorrow, then I'll just let it sit and pick it tomorrow. Starting at 9, a 20% chance. It goes up to 30. You know, I'm just going to let it sit because I'd like to see it be fully ripe. I want to see what those turn out as. So I'm going to let that one sit. So here's a great little one. It kind of sounds hollow. The stem is pretty tough. But look at that Curlicue. That thing is definitely dry. So I can cut this little guy and put it out. People love the intense colors on these. And yep, if you look at the stem, it is solid. And that one is ready to go. So here's one that I have determined before is a porcelain doll. And so I've been watching it. And Curlicue is not even close to being ready. The stem is getting hard, and it kind of sounds hollow. So I'm just gonna go by the Curlicue. It is starting to turn brown. Oops. It is starting to turn brown, but I definitely can let that go longer. Here's a wordy goblin. There's its Curlicue. It is drier than dry. So we're gonna cut that. Hi, kitty. Oop. I don't want to cut you. There we go. So there we go. This wordy goblin is ripe and ready, and it needs a good cleaning because it's got dead leaves stuck to it. So I hope I was able to teach you something new, and hopefully it helps you be a little more efficient when you're harvesting too. I know that pumpkins are new for a lot of my viewers. For some of my viewers, I'm probably telling you something you don't already, or that you already do know, but I've had a lot of questions about the pumpkins, how to grow them, all of that. And so I hope that this helps you. I know that I'm starting from how to harvest them, but hopefully this teaches you something. And if you have any more questions, ask me. I'll do my best to answer. We are new at this, so we are learning as we go, but I'm always open to learn new things and research. I love to research. So if you have any questions, ask. And I better get going in because the gnats and mosquitoes are getting horrible. So I hope you guys learned something, and thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next time.